We have this festive atmosphere here. אני אתחיל בכמה מילים בעברית. חברים יקרים, ברוכים הבאים לכנס של מסלול פסיכולוגיית העצמי והמעשה הטיפולי. המסלול, שאני בוגרת שלו מהמחזור הראשון, מקיים את פעילותו המבורכת והמשמעותית מזה כ-18 שנה. במסגרת המשובחת של הבית ספר לפסיכותרפיה שביחידה ללימודי המשך ברפואה של אוניברסיטת תל אביב. זהו כנס אשר יידון בקולות השונים בקליניקה של פסיכולוגיית העצמי העכשווית. Dear friends, we are so happy and honored to have Dr. Donna Orange here with us in this special day. Donna, I will present you on your work in a few minutes. In order to open this conference, I will invite now Dr. שלגי. שלגי is the head of the program of psychotherapy at the School of Continuing Medical Education, Faculty of Medicine, Tel Aviv University. בבקשה.
תודה, קלאודיה. Good afternoon. Welcome to today's conference organized by the self-psychology track of the psychotherapy program in Tel Aviv University, entitled The Various Voices in the Contemporary Self-Psychology Clinic. First, I would like to express my deep gratitude to Dr. Gabi Mann, the head of the self-psychology track, who initiated and organized today's conference and who put into it an enormous amount of time, thoughts, and effort. Gabi, together with the track's steering committee, Gila Arieli, Chava Baruch, Ofra Fried Cohen, and Orly Shoshani, leads the track with a deep feeling of commitment, enthusiasm, and innovation, which lately have resulted in the consolidation of a transformed and fascinating program. The new program, which Gabi will shortly elaborate about, right? And which you can, of course, read about in our website and publication, will be launching in the upcoming year. Special thanks to Raanan Kulka, who established the self-psychology track within the Tel Aviv University psychotherapy program about 18 years ago, as Claudia said, and who insistently, constantly, and lovingly pours his knowledge, his wisdom, and his unique and so special kindness into it. Many thanks to Claudia Kugan, the chair of the Israeli Association of Self-Psychology and Study of Subjectivity, who has been a significant partner in the effort to meaningfully manifest self-psychology, its tradition and innovation within the program and in the university, in such a friendly and pleasant way. It is a real pleasure to work together, Gabi, Raanan, and Claudia. Many, many thanks to today's presenters, discussant and chairperson, Claudia Kugan, Orly Shoshani, Shlomit Haber-Mushayov, Iris Gavrieli Rechavi, and Raanan Kulka. Special thanks to Hagit Son, who is responsible in the program steering committee for all our conferences, and to our wonderful and beloved administrative staff, Shirley Milstein, Shani Han, and Galit Ben Yehuda. I would like to welcome our distinguished guest, Dr. Donna Orange. Personally, I first encountered Dr. Orange's writing some 20 years ago, when I read her book, written in collaboration with Robert Stolorow and George Atwood, Working Intersubjectively, Contextualism in Psychoanalytic Practice. You probably forgot that you wrote this book by now, right? Since then, I have met Donna again and again. I met her, she didn't meet me, but I've met her through her philosophical writings, her work on hospitality, recognition, otherness, and ethics, on trauma and shame, and many, many more. And finally, to her last book, Climate Crisis, Psychoanalysis and Radical Ethics. So you can imagine how happy I was, how happy we all were, that Donna agreed to be the guest of the annual conference of the self-psychology track this year. A few days ago, when I sat down to think of what I really want to say about Donna in these opening remarks of our conference, I remembered a short interview I heard with her 2 or 3 years ago on YouTube. I remember that this short interview moved me deeply, so I looked it up, and yes, it is still there. I don't know what the occasion was where Donna was asked this question: what is the single most important thing that you need to remember when you work with someone who's traumatized? but I do know that her answer touched me very deeply with its combination of wisdom and modesty. Similarly to Harold Serr's dictum that psychoanalysis is mainly about simply saying what makes sense. I find Donna's answer so human, so self-psychology, that I thought I would just read it to you verbatim, with your permission. Okay, good. It would be embarrassing if you say no, right? I would say, said Donna, to treat the person as a person, rather than as a case of trauma or anything else. That this is a person who has come to me with some kind of trouble, which will gradually unfold. So I just want to allow this person to teach me what she or he needs. And I will attempt to accompany him or her as the patient takes on whatever journey it will be, perhaps into the deepest circle of Dante's hell. And then we will try to find our way back out into a life that will be more humane. What Judith Herman calls the restoration of human dignity. So this person who has probably come to me, if she or he is truly traumatized, out of a sense of being humiliated, being shamed, and outside of the human community. And that now he may restore to a sense of belonging. But in the meantime, I don't know what this person needs from me, either immediately or down the road, and I will allow this person to teach me. I wish us all a conference that will be in the spirit of these wonderful and inspiring words. Thank you.
Now, I want to call and invite Gabi Mann, Dr. Gabi Mann, the head of the track Self-Psychology and the Therapeutic Deed, to say some welcoming words to you and Donna. Gabi, please.
ערב טוב, אני ממש שמחה לראות פה אולם מלא של סלף-סייקולוג'יסטים ואחרים, ואני באמת מקווה שיהיה ערב נעים, ועכשיו אני אעבור לאנגלית ברשותכם. I wish to welcome our guest and dear friend, Dr. Donna Orange, to our conference. I am delighted that you, Donna, agreed to join us here and share your innovative thinking with us. I also welcome you, students, graduates, faculty, and guests who are with us today. This is an opportunity to thank the administrative staff of the psychotherapy program, Shani Han, Shirley Milstein, and Galit Ben Yehuda. Special thanks to Boaz Shalgi, who extends himself to help at every instance. Boaz is always willing to share his creativity and encourages us to go one step further. I also wish to convey my deep gratitude to Moshe Bergstein, Chagit Son, and the members of the teaching committee of the psychotherapy program who offer continuous support and respond to our changing needs. Thanks to my colleagues from the Association of Self-Psychology, especially to Eldad Idan, who helped in creating this event. In addition to Elinor Lux, to whom we owe so many things, I also want to mention Claudia Kogan's endless support and devoted assistance of the scientific committee chaired by Ayala Ariav. Last not least, thanks to Ranan for his continuous presence, availability, helpful advice, and caring for the program. And to the dear teaching committee of our program, Galia Arieli, Chava Baruch, Ofra Cohen-Fried, and Orly Shoshani. I appreciate our continuous effort to define the right ideals and work towards their fulfillment. One example of our work this year is the new curriculum which we designed to meet current needs of the track. This will be a 3-year program and provide advanced study of self-psychology. We wish to give substantial attention to new developments, both in Israel and abroad. We will invite contributors of Ktavim, which is the volume exemplifying the Israeli contribution to self-psychology, to present their work, and we'll hear from leading analysts from abroad on Skype to give our students an opportunity to be acquainted with scholars whom they usually do not meet. One of these scholars is sitting on my right. We wish to open our program to different perspectives that inform self-psychology today. In spite of the changes, we kept the special spirit that we cultivate, to strive to develop a humanistic spirit, ethical listening, compassion, and a sense of responsibility towards our patients and fellow human beings. Being human among humans. You will see the new program enclosed in your file. Our gathering today will focus on the different voices of contemporary self-psychology, describe their commonalities, differences, and a potential for synthesis. After Donna's presentation, Orly will present a case to be discussed by Shlomit and Iris. They will illustrate different perspectives. The last session will be opened by Ra'anan, who will share with us how he views the fundamental that inspires self-psychology. We will then open the space for reflection. Are we talking one language or many? Are new themes in self-psychology a diversion from the father's conceptions, potentially counterproductive or creative? Is there a single way to practice self-psychology, or are there various ways to be a self-psychologist? We wish to explore these different directions and find out whether they are slowly evolving into different theories, or do they enrich common ideals and values. In the final chapter of Restoration of the Self, Coate asks what is the essence of psychoanalysis, and emphasizes the importance of empathic introspective stance. His definition is flexible in that it enshadows a future expansion of psychoanalysis. He wrote, by defining psychoanalysis as being a psychology of complex mental states, we have gone as far as I believe we must go in loosening the shackles of an all too narrow definition of analysis that would prevent us and the succeeding generations of analysts from adopting our theories in accordance with the new data which we continue to collect. For Coate, an important feature of psychoanalytic theory is its ability to revisit its assumptions, to continually question the validity of its constructions, and to rethink the established theories and vocabularies that it uses to characterize mental life. Coate thus predicted the possibility that aspects of self-psychology theory would potentially be enhanced and supplanted through the acceptance of new information. We know that this intention to be flexible was not so easy for him. He had to define his radically innovative psychoanalysis. Eventually, Coate's premonition came true. In many of our international conferences, in our journal, Psychoanalysis, Self and Context, and various written papers, new perspectives are flourishing. Self-psychology keeps developing in different directions, and its scope is quite wide by now. On one side, we find the traditional Boston group with its followers in different places, including here in Israel. We have the nonlinear dynamic system theories which pick up on quantum thinking. By nonlinear implies that small changes or interventions can lead to large changes in systems, including, of course, the system of patient and analyst. Dynamic means that an individual's present state always depends on prior states. We witness the inspiration and use of relational language and thinking by many self-psychology practitioners and intersubjectivists. I'm sure Donna will elaborate on that. We realize that complexity theory inspires many of the prominent self-psychology practitioners. This approach urges us to embrace the totality of our interconnectedness at every moment and connects us to a sense of undivided wholeness akin to meditative states. And finally, we have an important perspective that links between self-psychology and Buddhist thinking. This kind of thinking is led by Barry McGee and Jeremy Safran and others in the US, and by Ra'anan and a group of other psychologists here in Israel. The Buddhist tradition arose out of the need to contend with and cure human suffering, and offers various concepts and practices that are valuable in our conscious cultivation of self-objecting to its highest form. I assume that there are also other perspectives, but I cannot elaborate. But beyond these various trends, it must be true that each analyst is developing a personal style to work with patients, according to specific ideals that he or she believes in. And yet, I assume that in spite of such personal styles and the different perspectives, we all share the main legacy that Colt left for us, to assume responsibility for the well-being of our fellow human beings, patients or non-patients, help them pursue their ideals courageously, be a self-object to the other, be it the suffering stranger, as Donna called it, or our society, which also needs to be attended to, very much so. We strive to promote our compassion towards the less privileged and the needy. Donna Orange suggested in recent writing that we need to cultivate our compassion towards the planet itself, on which we live, and its resources which we constantly use. This is an important example of the expansion of the understanding in regard to the self-object function. Colt left us with some radical principles. The main idea is that of contextuality, our being entangled in significant ways with those who live next to us. Their well-being and ours are interconnected. This assumption is what calls for revisitation of our concepts and their application in new and creative ways. I will conclude with my remarks with a poem written by a Sufi poet, A Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house, empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be cleaning you out for a new delight. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Thank you. I hope we have a good day.